Ghoulash here, and welcome to another entry of...
The Ghoulog.
I got another Addams Family movie review for you, but don't worry, we're almost done with these, I swear to God. In 2010, Illumination was attempting to make their own animated Addams Family movie. But this was before they were exclusively making those terrible Minions movies that will never ever stop as long as you live. Plus, the Illumination Addams Family movie was not only intended to be done with stop-motion animation, but it was also going to be directed by Tim Burton as well. Of course, that would have been too amazing, so it didn't end up happening. Tim Burton, as we know, finally directed an Addams Family project, which came out in 2022 on Netflix, the Wednesday TV series, which I'll cover sometime in the hopefully not-too-distant future. After Tim Burton pulled out of the project, MGM, through a joint partnership with Braun, Cinesite, and Nitrogen Studios, took the reins of the animated Addams Family film, released in 2019, which became computer animated with the Addams Clan rendered in the classic Charles Addams art style. You know, with some ugly textures and unflattering lighting. The 2019 Addams Family movie on the surface seemed to not be so much a film intended to entertain or even be seen by anyone, but instead seemed to be made to leverage countless merchandise tie-ins and cross-promotions from Hershey's candy to IHOP menu items in an attempt to dominate the 2019 Halloween season. The thing is, though, Addams Family 2019 is also a movie, and it happened to be seen by some people. My zombie self unfortunately counted among them. Here's my review. The 2019 Addams Family film begins with an extremely necessary origin story sequence showing the marriage of Gomez and Morticia. And if you imagine this legendarily passionate couple having a gloriously spooky spectacle of a wedding, well, no. They just got married in an open field.
We put the lime in the coconut and drink them both up.
Thankfully, this pathetic wedding is cut short when an angry mob of villagers descends upon the extended Addams family. So Gomez and Morticia mount Fester and retreat to the safety of New Jersey. This is New Jersey? This is too nice looking to be New Jersey.
What's wrong?
We can't run forever, my love. I want a home again.
The couple's driver, Thing, fails to watch where he's going with his non-existent eyes and accidentally hits a man in the road, who's revealed to be Lurch, an escaped mental patient left behind at a nearby abandoned asylum. Lurch himself forced into de facto servitude by the Addamses.
Thank you, old boy. Lead the way.
I know how it feels, Lurch, getting enslaved by creepy, privileged weirdos. And so do the employees of Amazon and Tesla. After another necessary origin sequence explaining how the Addams family got their theme song, Morticia and Gomez decide to call this abandoned mental health facility their new home.
It's home.
Nobody really needs mental health treatment in America anyway. Unfortunately, if you were hoping to also see the origin story for how Wednesday and Pugsley were conceived, the film just glosses over those details in the opening credits. You don't get to see Gomez go balls deep in Morticia. Now, you know, the first 10 minutes aren't so bad, just a bit superfluous, but trust me, it gets worse when years later, after the credits, they establish Thing as a connoisseur of foot fetish pornography.
Thing. Have Ichabod wake the children.
It's an insane joke to see in a children's film. The joke is clearly intended to be Thing, a hand, having an ironic attraction to feet. A raunchier joke for parents, I suppose, but it really just seems like a director on this movie finding an outlet for his foot fetish in this cartoon. Why is there even a joke about porn at all? I understand wanting to throw in some gags for grown-ups, but really? A porn joke? And this scene isn't the only foot stuff in the movie either. Later on, Pugsley delightedly eats candy from between his grandmama's toes. So, you know, whoever made this movie probably should have been arrested. But if you've ever wanted foot fetish pornography in an Addams Family movie, this film's got you covered. You fucking weirdo.
Guess what I've got, Pugsley?
Candy.
Oh, yes!
The brief opening origin story feels like the only real story the makers of this film wanted to tell. There's not much of a notable plot to speak of beyond that. It's the standard 90s TV show adaptation story.
The fog. It's lifting. Someone drained the marsh.
The Addams family's happily unhappy existence is threatened when a town is suddenly founded near their isolated home. The town of Assimilation, built by Margot Needler, a home-renovating TV show host.
This will be your chance to purchase the house of your dreams in the town of your dreams.
You can tell all of the film's budget went into the Addams family's character models and their home itself when you look at the surrounding town and its inhabitants. They look like leftover assets from a 20-year-old Nickelodeon show. This doesn't look like scenes from a theatrical animated movie, but it somehow is.
We didn't just make over a house. We made over a whole town!
It could be argued that the simplistic, generic look of Assimilation and its residents is intentional social commentary about their conformity, but you can get that across without it also looking like shit, where every character looks like a fish creature with noodle bodies and big cube-shaped heads. It all looks like rejected designs from an episode of Fanboy and Chum Chum.
I found a creepy mansion up on the hill.
I'm so glad you're exploring, Parker, but I don't have time to talk right now, sweetheart.
And don't even talk to me about this movie's attempts at commentary. This film has baby's first social satire level commentary, where this town called Assimilation is established with a troupe of kids gleefully singing about how there's nothing good about being an individual, and you're more happy when you don't get to make your own choices. Sounds like Texas.
What's so great about being yourself when you can be like everyone else?
Wow. The film's social satire isn't clever or funny like previous incarnations of Addams Family. It's written in such a way to be a simplistic incarnation of satire. But if you're aiming that low with satire, why even have it in the movie? It won't be appreciated by anybody, and everybody will just find it insulting. Anyway, when the Addams family are introduced to this new environment, the results are just their typical culture clash antics, but with the cringe amped up to 11.
I tip my hat to you! I do just that! Bum, 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 bum.
They don't make a good case for the Addams family being any better than the basic bitches populating this town.
How'd you like a free home makeover from a world-renowned interior designer?
Margot tries to get the Addams family to conform to the rest of the town's standards because their house is literally scaring off customers, but attempts to renovate the Addams' dilapidated crack house are denied.
Run, Margot! Run, run, run!
Margot's role as the film's terrible attempt at a villain is developed slowly over the course of the movie, though. The film mostly just follows a very basic A-B plot structure you'd see in a sitcom, with exactly the kind of formulaic story you'd expect to see in a sitcom.
Your saber mazurka is 2 weeks away, and you've barely practiced at all.
Pugsley is being prepared for his mazurka, a rite of passage where he has to memorize a complex sword dance in front of his entire extended family, with the fear that if he fails the mazurka, he will shame his father, but also it's implied Pugsley will be killed.
Has anyone ever failed the mazurka?
Once.
Never heard of him.
Exactly.
The other plot involves Wednesday choosing to rebel in the Addams family way by conforming, befriending Margot Needler's daughter Parker, and going to school. Oh man, it's always a scary sight when you see a kid wearing all black enter an American public school. You never know what's gonna happen.
I'm not locked up in here with you, Bethany.
You're locked in here with me.
The plot heavily fixates on the Addams kids, with Gomez dealing with anxiety over whether or not he's properly prepared his son for the mazurka, and with Morticia fearing that Wednesday is slipping away from her. It's an adequate plot for a kids show episode, but it's stretched thin at 90 minutes. There aren't enough moments with Morticia and Gomez together. It feels like they wanted to tone down the relationship between the morbid couple out of fear of alienating toddlers watching this movie.
I'm sorry, Gomez. I'm just a bit preoccupied with the mazurka preparations.
Oh, I am as well.
There's nothing really here that a parent viewing this film with their child can conceivably get entertainment from.
You sunk my battleship!
Well done, Pugsley.
Honestly, I even doubt a kid would find this film entertaining. The animation is chintzy and the designs of the film look like shit. The movie attempts to emulate the art of Charles Addams, but what made Addams' art style work is how direct it was. Easily readable compositions that are brimming with detail when inspected more closely. The characters are stylized, instantly distinguished from each other, yet anything but exaggerated. There was an element of naturalism to Addams' monochromatic art, often depicting isolated, quiet moments in the lives of his characters. Charles Addams' art could say a lot with very little, but had more to say if you were willing to listen. With the 2019 film, the characters have very busy, cluttered designs that upon first inspection resemble the Addams strips, but these characters are far more garishly exaggerated. Like they're the Charles Addams characters on crack, with just these unnecessary extra flourishes like Thing wearing a watch with an eye on it, Wednesday's pigtails in the shape of nooses, and I don't even know what the they did with Pugsley's design. The movie didn't need to look ugly to be spooky because the cartoons it's based on are gorgeously creepy and brimming with atmosphere.
Would you really deprive me of the opportunity to torment children my own age?
She makes a point.
Going beneath the surface of the characters, the film features the typical modern animated movie voice cast, composed entirely of Hollywood movie stars, with none of the main roles filled by actual professional voice actors. That almost always sucks because acting in a live-action role is a very different process from performing a voiceover, but it's treated as if it's interchangeable just to toss in as many celebrities as possible, and to the film's credit, it does have a lot of celebrities in it. Oscar Isaac as Gomez, Charlize Theron as Morticia, Chloe Grace Moritz as Wednesday, Finn Wolfhard as Pugsley, Bette Midler as Grandmama, and Nick Kroll as Fester.
Don't worry, I'll sleep in the attic. You won't even know I'm here.
If you're wondering why Nick Kroll is in any movies or TV shows, well, it's because his father is a billionaire. So if you're wondering how something like Big Mouth or all the other shit with Nick Kroll in it can possibly exist, just remember it's because his dad is a billionaire. You could do anything if your father is a billionaire, even become a famous actor and comedian.
So no pressure.
Adding on to the film's stunt casting is Snoop Dogg as Cousin It, just so they can say Snoop Dogg is playing Cousin It.
Cousin, you made it! Please come in!
You can't tell it's Snoop Dogg because the voice is distorted gibberish at the end of the day, but it's just so this movie has some form of interesting trivia about it to try to get anybody to watch it.
Make yourself at home!
The voice acting in the film is adequate overall, but there's just a blandness to the performances. The actors are playing these over-the-top figures, but aren't able to really reach the level necessary to properly embody the characters, so the animation does the best it can to pick up the slack.
How are you gonna help me?
You see that hole over there? Go stand beside it.
Ultimately, this Addams Family film rushes along to the conclusion of its 3 stories in the last 15 minutes. Essentially, Margot becomes frustrated with her tube-shaped daughter's goth phase, and also said daughter's disapproval of her mother's NSA-level spying of the town.
Sorry to do this, but standards must be upheld.
So Margot organizes an angry mob to take care of the subversive Addams clan. And hey, the torches are an app! That's so fucking funny. Meanwhile, Pugsley's mazurka is a flop in front of his entire family.
I let you down.
But that ceases being relevant when the whole town begins murdering the Addams family in their own home.
What is the true meaning of the mazurka?
It's about protecting our family.
This ordeal is taken care of when Gomez finally accepts his son as a boy who might suck at swordplay, but makes up for it in his ability to use explosives. What a message. Oh, and Morticia also accepts Wednesday for who she is too, I guess. A chick with a big pear-shaped head.
I knew there was no way you were going to save yourselves.
Ultimately, the town sees the Addamses as a family like any other, and, you know, decide not to murder them after all. With Margot having a public meltdown live-streamed by her daughter, resulting in Margot swiftly losing her TV show, being forced to sell the town's remaining homes to Addamses, and Margot's also forced to f*** Fester to show how far she's fallen.
Who would have thought a guy like me, a total zero, would have ended up with you, and also zero?
Oh, and the town that tried to murder the Addamses make it up to them by rebuilding the house they destroyed in the first place. So, you know, a happy ending, I guess. I mean, the movie is over, so that's good.
How lovely. The spirit's home.
Finally, back to normal.
There is a nice, faithful recreation of the original Addams Family show's opening at the end, though. It's really out of place, but it is cool that some kind of tribute to a classic Addams Family thing is somewhere in this movie.
The Addams Family.
Overall, Addams Family 2019 isn't absolutely terrible, but it's not good either. It has a very basic story and looks really cheap. It looks like a lot of money was spent on the core Addams Family and their house, but this stuff still doesn't look very good. The movie looks like a direct-to-video animated film that would have come out 15 years ago, not a theatrically released movie. The film was made for about $20 million, which is a very low budget for an animated film like this, but MGM spent $150 million on the promotion for the movie, 6 times the actual budget to make the film. The movie itself didn't matter. What mattered was all the cross-promotions using the Addams Family to sell pancakes at IHOP. Addams Family 2019 is the kind of disposable animated film you turn on to put your kids to sleep on a long car ride. It's just not worthy of its legendary name. I give Addams Family 2019 2 things looking at foot fetish pornography out of 5. There is a sequel to this movie, though, released in 2021, so maybe they nailed it with that one at least. Probably not, but I guess we'll find out.
Candy.
Oh, yes!
This video is made possible through the pledges of Dr. Wolfula's Patreon supporters, and I'd like to give a very special thanks to the kind folks pledged to Doc's Shoutout tier. All the support on Patreon means a lot to me, and it helps my master's dark influence continue to grow. If you like this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more videos. Be sure to also keep in touch by following me on social media at Instagram and Twitter at the Ghoulog. While I still have your attention, consider pledging to my master Dr. Wolfula's Patreon to support the channel and get bonus content like previews, VIP Discord server access, private movie night streams, and credits in videos. Consider pledging at patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula. Also, check out official Ghoulash t-shirts and other merch on tpublic.com/user/Dr. Wolfula. Thanks for watching, see you all next time. You f***ing weirdos.